There is a specific kind of power that only exists when people don't see it coming. Being underestimated feels like an insult in the moment, overlooked, dismissed, treated as though you don't matter as much as you know you do. But this exact discomfort, if you let it, becomes one of the most useful advantages you will ever have. The people who quietly succeed while everyone else is busy proving themselves loudly usually share one thing in common. Nobody saw them coming. Why? Being overlooked removes the target others are fighting. For when someone is clearly seen as talented, ambitious, or threatening, they immediately become a target of competition, scrutiny, and resistance. Every move they make is watched, questioned, and sometimes deliberately blocked by people who feel threatened by their visibility. Being underestimated removes this target entirely. When people assume you are not a serious threat, they stop paying close attention to what you are actually building, which gives you room to move, grow, and prepare without the resistance that visible ambition usually attracts. Think about two people starting the same new job. The first arrives with obvious confidence, makes their ambitions known immediately, and quickly becomes someone colleagues watch carefully, sometimes competitively. The second stays quiet, does solid work without announcing intentions, and is initially seen as unremarkable. 6 months later, the second person has often built deeper relationships, learned more about how the organization actually works, and faced far less resistance along the way, simply because nobody felt the need to compete with someone they never saw as competition in the first place. Why low expectations create room for surprising results there is a psychological effect that works specifically in favor of those who are underestimated. When expectations are low, even solid, competent work appears impressive because it exceeds what people assumed was possible. This creates a specific kind of reputation-building advantage that those who are expected to succeed rarely get to experience because their achievements are simply assumed rather than genuinely noticed. Consider someone who is dismissed early on as unremarkable, then consistently delivers strong results over time. Each success feels disproportionately impressive to observers precisely because it defies the initial low expectation. This creates a compounding effect where each additional accomplishment builds a reputation more quickly than it would for someone who was expected to succeed from the very beginning. The very dismissal that once felt discouraging becomes the foundation for a narrative of unexpected rise that people find compelling and memorable. Why being underestimated protects you from unnecessary conflict. People rarely feel the need to undermine, sabotage, or compete aggressively with someone they don't consider a genuine threat. This creates a specific kind of protection for those who are underestimated, freedom from the political maneuvering, gatekeeping, and resistance that often surrounds those who are seen as obviously ambitious or capable. While others spend energy defending their position or managing rivals, the underestimated person often moves forward with far less resistance simply because nobody saw them as worth the effort of blocking. This dynamic plays out constantly in competitive environments, whether professional, creative, or social. Those who are visibly ambitious often become targets for subtle sabotage, deliberate exclusion, or unfair criticism simply because their obvious potential threatens others who feel less secure. Those who are underestimated fly beneath this radar entirely, allowed to develop skills, relationships, and opportunities without the same level of scrutiny or resistance. Why this advantage requires patience and genuine substance being underestimated only becomes an advantage if the underlying substance actually exists. This is not about deliberately hiding talent forever or pretending to be less capable than you are indefinitely. It is about recognizing that the early stages of any pursuit benefit from reduced scrutiny, allowing genuine skill, knowledge, and preparation to develop without the pressure and resistance that comes with being seen as an obvious threat too early. This requires patience, a willingness to build quietly without needing immediate recognition or validation for the effort being invested. Many people struggle with this patience, feeling an urgent need to prove themselves immediately, to correct the low expectations others hold as quickly as possible. But rushing to prove yourself often sacrifices the very advantage that being underestimated provides in the first place, inviting scrutiny and resistance before you have actually built enough substance to withstand it. Why eventually revealing your capability creates maximum impact there is a specific power in timing when you eventually reveal genuine capability after being consistently underestimated. Because expectations were set low, the eventual demonstration of real skill or achievement creates a disproportionate impact, often far greater than if the same capability had been obvious from the very beginning. This delayed revelation, when it finally happens, tends to be remembered and discussed far more than gradual, expected success ever would be. This does not mean deliberately withholding your best work indefinitely or playing small out of fear. It means understanding that being underestimated during the early, developmental stages of any pursuit often serves you better than premature visibility, and that the eventual demonstration of genuine capability, once you are actually ready, creates a far more memorable and impactful impression than constant, expected competence ever could. Being underestimated was never actually a disadvantage, even though it often feels that way in the moment. It removes you as an immediate target, creates room to grow without unnecessary resistance, and sets the stage for an eventual impact that exceeds what obvious, expected competence could ever produce. The people who quietly succeed while everyone else focuses on proving themselves loudly usually understand this principle, whether consciously or not. Being overlooked is not the absence of power. It is often simply power that hasn't been revealed yet.